Okay, so if you can't remember what you ate for breakfast or what you wore yesterday or what I just said, you could be suffering from signs of memory loss. At an early age, early Alzheimer's, well, some doctors say it might be so, but we're going to get a second opinion from Dr. Stephen Hotze from the Hotze Health and Wellness Center and, of course, his patient, Terri Jaggers, who is Mrs. USA. When we last met Terri, she was Mrs. Texas, but she just recently was crowned Mrs. USA, so that's pretty cool. But it wasn't always like that. Terri has a very interesting story. It wasn't always, you know, all of this celebration for you. It was a tough road to hoe, for sure. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it was exactly 3 years ago this week that I went to Dr. Hotze's office. I had some, like a myriad of problems, starting with lack of sleep at night, couldn't go to sleep, was exhausted during the day, losing my hair, was just feeling really, really down. But the most significant part was that every single day I was having a hard time maintaining a sense of knowledge and where I was going, my direction and my focus, my thought. It was really creating a hard time for me in my business and my family life all the way across the board.
So your memory, though, it was an important piece. Did you realize you were sort of losing it, or was that sort of when you're distracted by all the physical, the hair, the weight, and the not sleeping, it's hard to remember, your memory sort of is the last thing you're thinking of because it's so obvious, the other things that are happening to you.
Well, at first, it was exactly that. I thought, well, it's just a part of everything. But as it continued, my family and my employers actually did like a little intervention and said, hey, we need to talk. You keep saying things like, I'm sorry, I don't remember what my point was. It's just menopause. And I would make it like it was a joke. But the jokes got to be so often and that it got to the point where I really knew I had a problem. In fact, there was a couple of instances that were very severe. One time, I built this large business, spent years to build it from the ground up. And one day I was sitting and I couldn't even remember what the inside of it looked like. I was just focusing, thinking, what does when you walk in the door, what do you see? I couldn't even remember. But as soon as somebody gave me one bit of information, all the pieces fell right together, and I had no problem.
You needed triggers, basically.
Right.
Dr. Hotze, what was going on? What is going on?
Well, I want her to tell the rest of this. Where did your husband end up sending you? Where did you end up going?
Well, I went to a doctor. First they said that it was stress and that I needed to, but my life is always, I'm very, very involved in many things, and I enjoy living like that. Then they said it was depression, and I was trying to say, okay, well, what can I be depressed about? What is it that, I was like trying to find something to be depressed about.
Because you had a great life, you were really ambitious.
Right, but I must be depressed because they're telling me I'm supposed to be depressed. Then they said, well, it's so severe that we're really concerned that you have Alzheimer's, the early on stages of Alzheimer's. I would say things like, we're going to, instead of saying we're going to the ocean, I'd say we're going to, the big blue body of water, because I couldn't think of the word ocean for just that split second. And people would laugh at me, but it was enough that they thought
you had Alzheimer's.
Right.
That's a very serious disease.
Well, I went to the doctor and I took a series of tests and was actually sent to a specialist who at the Baylor College of Medicine was going to place me in a study for the early onset of Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. Enter Dr. Hotze. Now, you've seen a lot of this. Coming to you, but saying about, this is very, we've had a lot of women that don't sleep and gain weight, but losing your memory is a very big deal. So what was happening to her?
Well, first, it's not uncommon for women to come in and say, tell me the same sort of story and say, do you think I have early Alzheimer's? And this is a common feature of the changes that occur in midlife that affect our brain function. And what does the brain have to do to function? It has to have oxygen. It has to have energy. So as we age, as women age, their hormone levels decline. That includes their female sex hormones and their thyroid hormones. Thyroid enables your body to produce energy. So when Terri came in, we did an evaluation on her and listened to her and put her on some natural Armour thyroid, put her on some natural progesterone. I think we used a little testosterone and cortisol. And that was in December. And then 5 months later, what happened?
Well, I actually not only won Mrs. Texas, but then I went on and won the swimsuit competition. So for a woman in her 40s, that really rocks.
She had Alzheimer's.
Oh my gosh, that does!
So here's a woman whose family thought she had Alzheimer's disease and was going to look to possibly institutionalize her. Next thing you know, she's Miss Texas and Miss USA, vibrant, articulate, and now finishing up school and going to apply to law school, I understand.
Right. That's right.
That's the power of the hormones. And as our hormone levels decline, we don't do well. All we have to do is fill the tank back up. I like to say, put a tiger back in your tank.
That is so true. Now, these are the bioidentical hormones that you're talking about, but there are other things that we could use if you want preventative things that help the brain, right? So the natural things like fish oil.
Fish oil is very important. Magnesium is very important. Most of us have very low levels of magnesium, which is a mineral that's very important for your thought process.
And then antioxidants and mineral supplements.
Good vitamin and mineral supplementation is absolutely important. A good eating program, and get off aspartame. That's really important. Get off these diet drinks, because that can cause your brain to go wacko.
And you can lose your memory from those. I have read that in some studies.
Another thing too, these anti-cholesterol drugs cause global amnesia and can cause you to have memory loss. So be very careful about taking any drugs that lower cholesterol levels.
Okay, so those are very good trigger signs too that we got from you. So we are going to take note of that. I want to thank you, Dr. Hurd. So you can also check him out Monday through Friday at noon to 1 on his radio show, which is cool. His book right there, Hormones, Health, and Happiness, and his website. But it's 700 a.m. Check him out. It's going to be interesting. He has guests like this on all the time. All right, now everybody, stick with us because we are going to be right back.